Guys, on this episode, everything is completely f***ed. Cue the f***ing intro. Welcome back to the Scale Builders Guild. Thanks again for watching. It's episode 14 of the Traxxas TRX-4 Sport Kit budget build-off, and we are nearing the end. And what better time than now to completely screw everything up? All of the things I wanted to do this week are failing miserably. It's, well, not a total loss. There are some great things that have happened. As you probably know from previous weeks, we did delete the portals on the TRX-4 Sport Kit, and I got a lot of negative feedback, and I wasn't not expecting that. I was totally expecting it, and it was bound to happen. I do want to stress that this is all about pushing the limits and pushing the boundaries and trying new things and things that you might not do to see if they're worth doing. And I can say with much satisfaction that the SSD Portal Delete Kit is an excellent addition to the TRX-4 Sport, and for me, makes it a much better performer. That said, there are some things that I needed to change in order to make sure it was actually going to work in the long term, and I will get into that right now. First and foremost, part of the budget this week was to replace the pinion and the spur. Both of those things had to be changed in order to get a proper lower set of gearing into the TRX-4 Sport. Because, of course, as you know, portals add another level of reduction. So getting rid of that reduction actually made the motor work a lot harder than it needed to, and I was definitely going to overheat and melt those motor brushes. Rather than do that, I didn't really feel like having to replace the motor, so I did replace the spur and the pinion, and it's really super easy. All you need is a 15-tooth, 32-pitch pinion and Traxxas's 45-tooth spur, and that is part number 8053. Super easy to replace, and if you've kept the instructions from your TRX-4 Sport Kit, and I hope you did, there is a really handy chart in there that shows you what combinations of pinions and spurs will work in this transmission. As you'll see, 15-tooth is the lowest you can go, and 45-tooth is the largest you can go on the spur. So I've got the best possible gearing now. With all of the loss and reduction, this is a much more capable truck in this form now. So that's the one caveat on this whole thing. You do need to replace those two parts, and I will be sure to put links in the description below where you can pick those up if you intend to do something that most people probably wouldn't do. The biggest complaint was that it was an SCX-10 now, and that's not true, of course. There is a lot of other things about the Traxxas platform that I really like that are substantial upgrades over an SCX-10 And that's all I'm going to say about that, because it doesn't really matter. This is a Traxxas build-off. Let's stick to that, and let's get this thing done. I spent $4.29 on the 15-tooth pinion and $3 on the spur, both from RPP. I'll put links in the description below where you can pick those up for yourself. Now, with all that positive, of course, there's gotta be negatives, right? Well, yes, there are big negatives this week, and it's part of the reason that I'm so ticked off with how this week is going. First, I did install the light kit in the running video week. I'm gonna say that that was done in the week where we didn't have a budget, so I don't have to spend any money on that. But I made one major blunder, and I'm not sure who to blame, either myself or Harley. I think it's probably a combination of both. In connecting the light controller or the voltage regulator or whatever that part is in the Traxxas TRX-4 light kit, I managed to solder it backwards to the battery leads, therefore releasing the magic smoke. Goodbye, magic smoke. We'll never see you again. That part is destroyed. I wish I had been filming at the time because it was rather embarrassing. Yeah, no fires, thankfully, and no one was hurt, but always be sure to check your polarity when you're soldering things together and using electrics, because you can cause small fires. So that means that for this week, the light kit won't work. We're gonna have to order that piece separately from Traxxas.com, and hopefully it gets here before the end of the build-off, so we can actually see this truck lit up, which would be nice. And I was going to be showing you how to deanodize some aluminum parts, because in my frugal nature, I decided to buy the beadlock rings this week and the beadlock wheels next week, so I could split up some of the cost of some of these expensive parts. But guess what? These aren't anodized at all. They're painted. So I can't show you how to de-anodize something that isn't anodized, which is really embarrassing because it was a really fun how-to, and it was gonna be something I was really gonna be proud of showing you, but darn it, they're gonna stay blue. Or maybe I'll paint them, I don't know. Anyway, I did buy 2 sets of 8169X, that is the blue anodized beadlock rings for Traxxas TRX-4 beadlock wheels, which will make their appearance next week. That's the part number in case you really desperately need to see it. You get 4 in a package, so you need 2 packages because you have to do the front and the back of the wheel. 4 of those are, holy sh**, wow. 4 of those are $30, $29.95. So I'm way over budget this week, but not to worry, I'm saving money next week because the wheels are cheap. Some more good news, I did finally source an interior. It is the Tamiya left-hand drive cockpit, and this is mostly used for touring cars that they make, but it's actually a pretty decent fit for the TRX-4 Sport camper body. It is fully styrene, which is really nice, and it does offer a lot of detail included, a steering wheel, driver, shifter, and because it's styrene, it's really easy to add your own styrene bits and pieces, like some of the ones that I made in previous weeks. So that's not completed yet. It is started and it is underway, and it is here. What I like about this as well is that because it's styrene and it's super light, and for a class 2 or a competitive style truck, this is exactly what you want. A bit of detail, enough of a driver that you get some Sorka points, and that's really all you need. I think you're gonna find that it looks really great once installed. I'll also be adding one of my vintage James French Beetle Lover heads. These are resin cast heads and they have a lot of detail, tons of detail. Look at that. I painted this guy myself. He looks pretty menacing and aggressive and angry, and these you cannot get anymore, unfortunately. The guy just doesn't make them anymore, and that's kind of disappointing because they are killer. They are awesome. Look at that guy. Urgh. I also have the Proline cage in the back of this truck, so it does require some substantial trimming, but I think once it's in there, it's gonna look just fine. I think that's pretty much gonna do it for the interior. That interior piece is $15.20, and I'll put a link in the description below where you can pick one of those up. So the tally for this week, I did go over budget, but I think I had money left over from previous weeks, even though we said we were wiping the budget clean. I don't know how that applies or doesn't apply, so I'll ask Josh tonight and I'll put some numbers over here and we'll figure it out from there. For this week, I did spend $79.69. With the money left over from previous weeks, I've got some money remaining, let's say, hopefully. So there you have it, a demoralizing week at best, but some progress made and some very cool things happened. I will say unequivocally that I do prefer the lower center of gravity of the Portal Delete kit from SSD on the TRX-4 Sport. I know it sounds ridiculous, but there's still so much Traxxas in this that I think we can still call it the Traxxas budget build-off. Thank you so much for watching. See you again soon.